You've seen the promise. Turn your everyday spending into a ticket to the front of the plane, sipping champagne on a long-haul flight that you paid for entirely with credit card points. The reality is quite different. Millions of those points are sitting unredeemed in accounts right now, and while they sit there, banks are quietly devaluing them year over year, stripping away their purchasing power. It begs a rather uncomfortable question. Are you actually extracting value from the reward system, or is the system optimizing your behavior for the bank's benefit? This chart shows how your strategy dictates your return. We map the effort you put into managing your cards on the horizontal axis against the actual value of the travel you get back on the vertical axis. Down here in the bottom left, we have the default cashback strategy. You swipe the card, you get 1 or 2% back. It requires zero mental energy, but it yields the lowest possible travel impact. Moving up slightly, you can book a flight directly through a bank's travel portal. You get a fixed value, usually around 1 cent per point. It caps out at a medium return for a relatively low amount of work. But the massive payouts live exclusively up here in the top right. This is transfer arbitrage, moving your points into specific airline frequent flyer programs. It delivers incredible value, but it requires the highest amount of time and effort to execute. The credit card rewards ecosystem functions as a massive arbitrage opportunity. Extracting thousands of dollars in value is possible, but it requires trading substantial time and psychological discipline to avoid the low-value traps that keep the system profitable for the banks. High-value optimization begins with the sign-up bonus. While a standard swipe might earn you 1 or 2% back, hitting a welcome offer can generate a massive 10 to 20% return on your initial spending. But the banks set strict rules. You have to meet a high spending threshold, usually within 90 days. If you miss that target by a single day, you forfeit the entire bonus. You might think the logical move is to rapidly apply for multiple cards and stack those bonuses. Banks know this, and they have built invisible algorithmic speed bumps to stop you. This timeline illustrates the most famous restriction, the Chase 524 rule. If you open 5 or more personal credit cards across any bank within a rolling 24-month period, any new application with Chase will be automatically denied. Acquiring points successfully is a pacing exercise. You have to align your card applications with large, pre-planned life expenses, like a home renovation or a tuition bill, so you hit those spending targets organically without triggering velocity limits. Once you have the cards, you never use one piece of plastic for everything. Optimizers curate a wallet with overlapping category multipliers, one card for groceries, another for travel. This lets them earn 3 to 4 times the points of a casual user on the exact same budget. The gap between experts and casual users opens widest at the moment of redemption. This table breaks down the math for a $1,000 flight. If you book it through the bank's portal, it costs you 100,000 points. But if you transfer those points directly to the airline's frequent flyer program, that exact same seat can cost a fraction of that, just 34,000 points. The trade-off for that extreme discount is complexity. You have to study fragmented airline alliances and maintain intense schedule flexibility. The best award seats usually open up either 11 months in advance or at the absolute last minute. Airlines are constantly adjusting their dynamic pricing to make earning harder. Moving points directly to partners is the final mechanism left to extract 2 to 5 cents per point, completely separating the experts from everyone else. We've looked at the mechanics, but we have to ask why banks are willing to hand out such massive rewards in the first place. The answer lies entirely in human psychology. Behavioral economist Richard Thaler spent his career studying these blind spots, specifically detailing a concept called mental accounting. His research on how our brains categorize money was so rigorous, it earned him the Nobel Prize in economics. This diagram shows how mental accounting works in practice. Even though a dollar is a dollar, our brains split them into different categories. We lock our hard-earned wages in a mental vault and treat them with caution. But points, or a tax refund, are viewed as a windfall. Because they feel like play money, consumers routinely waste points on overpriced conveniences they would never buy with cash, like in-flight Wi-Fi or statement credits. There is a secondary trap at work here called the pain of paying. Using a credit card physically decouples the immediate drives people to overspend, and the moment you carry a balance month to month, the bank charges you 20% interest. That instantly wipes out any 2% reward margin you thought you were earning. The entire system is built on this math. The luxury travel of the few is directly subsidized by the psychological blind spots of the many. The true cost of free travel isn't the annual fee, it's the burden of maintaining constant mental discipline. Because this ecosystem relies on behavioral traps, you have to audit your own habits. You need to identify which archetype actually fits your financial reality. First, if you carry a balance from month to month, these rewards are actively harming your net worth. You need to abandon the points game today and focus entirely on a debt payoff strategy. Second is the time-poor consumer. You pay your balance in full, but you refuse to spend hours learning about transfer partners. Ignore the travel hype entirely and stick to a simple, flat 2% cashback card. This scorecard is for the third group, the optimizers. Before applying for a new card, you must complete a 30-day audit. Map your organic spend, check your application velocity status, and verify that the airline you want to use actually has seats available. Managing rewards at this level requires the same rigor you would apply to a deflationary asset, including a regular audit to stay ahead of the next round of devaluations. Navigating these algorithms successfully requires you to manage your own psychology as much as your spreadsheets. Ultimately, self-awareness remains the most valuable currency in your wallet.